Hi everyone and welcome to the APA workshop. My name is Erika Rodriguez and I'm one of the online library assistants of the FTC Virtual Library. Today is Thursday, April 4, 2019. Uh, Today also with me we have Zoely Santiago, the online librarian, and Greche Carrasquillo, the another library assistant. So you have any question you can ask in the chat. In this workshop, we're going to talk about the most important elements of the APA using as reference the APA guide at the virtual library. So here, first we're going to start from the Canvas platform, and we're going to locate, going to locate the icon, the library icon here in the menu on your left. So you click here and you go to the main page of the virtual library. Okay, so if this is your first time in the virtual library, at the end of this workshop, I'm going to show you where you can see past tutorials and learn how to use the library. Because today we're going to focus on the APA and we're going to start here in the Information Resources tab. I'm sorry, in the Research Skills tab. So here, this is a guide, step-by-step guide on how to start your searching for information and the process to select and analyze information. It's really useful if you're feeling a little stuck and you don't know how to start. So today we're here because here in this section, analysis and production, we're going to learn and check what is plagiarism. So the plagiarism is the act of stealing another's ideas, writing passages, concepts, etc., and pass it as your own. So it can be a partial copy of a text or a complete copy. There are different types of plagiarism. You can copy the work or text of another person and present it as your own, or you can text and not put the reference. You can paraphrase without stealing the author, copy a job directly from the internet, or copy and paste. And basically copying works from another person and don't citing or giving the reference of the author. So they are uh, there are some ideas that are not considered plagiarism. For example, um, common knowledge ideas or public knowledge, such as George Washington was the first president of the United States. So that is common knowledge. Many people know that. So that you don't have to give the reference. It's only for another person ideas that are not common knowledge. They are also cyber plagiarism, such as download or buy jobs online, and copy and paste. It's one of the most common behaviors used in plagiarism. So here in this section, you can also check another legal aspect of plagiarism, but to avoid that, we're going to use the APA manual style. That is why we use APA. So now that we know what is plagiarism, we're going back to the main page of the library. And we're going to the APA guide, which is here located in the main menu. Okay, so what is APA? It's the American Psychological Association Publication Manual, which is a guide for originated by a group of psychologists, anthropologists, and business managers who got together and established a set of procedures and writing formats for academic disciplines and other disciplines and universities consider this guide very effective, so they start using it for another discipline and not only for the social science or psychological disciplines. So they have a manual here that you can use. It's everything, all the guidelines and all the rules are here in this publication manual, which now is the latest edition, is the 6th edition. And unfortunately, we don't have the manual in the virtual library, but you can buy it online. There's also a Kindle version, and we highly recommend that you buy it because here you have in every detail or all the rules and all the guidelines for how to use to proper use the APA manual style. In the meantime, we have prepared this guide which with the basic and most important elements that you may use for your assignments. Here also we have APA General Guide that you can download to your computer if you don't have like a online internet access. You can download to your computer and use it anytime. So now we're going to start talking a little bit more about APA, and we're going to start in the formats. So there's 4 main parts to perform a writing work according to the APA. And these are the title page, the summary, body of the manuscript, and list of reference. We always recommend that you ask your professor which part you should include because sometimes you don't have to write the summary. So always check with your professor first to see which part he wants you to include. So here to format your document before starting to write, it's important that the paper is formatted to the letter size 8.5 plus 11 inches. The margins must be 1 inch from top, bottom, right, and left. The letter should be Times New Roman size 12, and paragraph should be double spaced aligned to the left. And every time you start a new paragraph, it's important that you use the indentation. This is an example. I know that you guys some of you have a Chromebook. So in the Chromebook, it should look like this. Here in the menu, you go to layout to change the document margins and size, and use these tools in the right to the paragraph formatting. Okay, so let's continue. Here we have here some examples, but using Microsoft Word, the Word Windows, but we're going to eventually put other examples in the Chromebook. Here we have an example of what the title page should look like. Okay, so here you have the header, you put your title, the page number. Here in the center you put the title, your name, and ask your professor if you need to include more information, like the name of the institution, your student identification number, etc. Okay, so now let's continue. You already formatted your document and you start writing, and you find that you want to include some information about other authors, but you don't want to commit plagiarism. So what do? You quote or you cite. So what are the difference between quotations and citations? Okay, so the quotations are when you want to make an exact copy of the words of another author. And the citations are when you paraphrase or you summary the main idea of that author. Okay, so in quotation you go word by word, and in citation you use your own words to say in another words in your words the main idea of the author. Okay, that is the main difference between the two. But it's important to not commit plagiarism, that you have these three elements of each when you cite and when you quote, which are the author's last name, the year of the publication, and the pages. And you're going to use that like this. In quotations, you have three different formats for, but there are two types: short quotations and long quotations. In the short ones, you have three different formats. The first one is direct quote with emphasis in the content. This is, for example, you go word by word and you put it between between quotation marks, and at the end you put the author last name, the year, and the page number. Another way to do it is first the last name of the author, then the date of publication, and here you have the quotation, like with the quotation marks, and finally the page. And the third way to do it is first the date, then the authors, and then stated that and the quotation, and finishing with the pages. These are for when you are writing and you don't want like to always use the same format. So you can use this one. So you can play with these three and have a much better writing. So it's because it's different. So you don't going to repeat and repeat the same thing. So you can use the three formats in your homework. So the long quotation format is when you have a long quote which are more than 40 words. What you're going to do is that you're going to, here it is, in a new paragraph without quotation marks, double space with an 1.3 centimeter margin and space in the left side. It should look like this. And you put the name of the author, date, and you can say retarded that, and you put the quotation and finish with the page number. This is because it's a long quotation, so you're going to separate it from the rest of your text, and you don't have to put the quotation mark because you are already separating from text, so the reader will know that it's a quotation. And you always going to include the author's last name, the year, and the page where you find it. So these are some examples of citations. These are when you also known as indirect citations, when you summarize or paraphrase the main idea. So, for example, Miller and Kirshen, the date, make emphasis, and you continue. So you put it in other words. You can summarize, paraphrase, and put it in your own words. This is another example, but here they put it in between parentheses at the end. So there are different ways to do it. The most important thing is that you always put the last name of the author, and the date, and the page. Okay, so going up here to the reference list. So the quotations and citations are inside your manuscript. The reference list will go at the end of your manuscript. And what is a reference list? It's a list dedicated to organize the information sources of the sources that you use for your manuscript, for your homework. Okay, here everything that you cited or you quoted, you have to put it in the reference list. This is the main structure. The elements that you should have are always the authors, year of publication, the title, and the data related to the publication. We're going to see that soon. We're going to explain that soon in more detail. These are the four main elements. Okay, so depending on what you're going to, or what is the format of the source, the reference is going to change. Okay, but first let us know the basic rules for the reference list. So the format should look like this. Okay, always in alphabetical order, and start with the last name of the author. Sometimes it's not a person, it's an organization or a web page. You will see in just a minute, but always in alphabetical order, and double space and hanging paragraph like this. Should look like this in your reference list. So there are some details about the author. Each entry should start with the author's last name followed by initials. When there's more than one author, each one is mentioned followed by a comma and the ampersand symbol. But if it has more than 7 authors, only mention the first 6, followed by 3 dots and then the last author. And in case you have more than one entry by the same author, you put them from the publication date, from the oldest to the most recent. Those here are some examples. Like for example, one author, last name, year, title of publication, and information about the publication. 2 authors, last name, year, and the information. Here should look like if it's more than 7 authors, the first 6, and 3 dots, and the last one. And like in the example here, that you have the American Psychological Association, that is an institutional author, so it's the same, only that just put the organization name, year, title of publication, and the information of the publication. So what if you don't find a publication date? Well, you should put ND, which means no date, in parentheses. Just here in the same place where you put the year, you only put ND, and so the reader will know that there's no date for that specific source. It's so very important that the titles of the information sources, such as books, journals, and websites, must be rated in italic, followed by the punctuation symbol. Capitalize only the first letter of the first word of a title and subtitle. I know that in English we capitalize each word, but in APA only the first word, and if it had a subtitle, the first word of the subtitle. And when we are talking about journals, we have we write the name of the journal in italic, followed by the volume, number, and pages. We're going to see this in detail just soon. Okay, so this is really important, really useful. When you don't find some of the main elements, such as the author of the year, the publication, or the title of the information of publication, if you don't find any of these elements, you can go here to this chart, and this will help you find a solution on how you should write the reference. For example, if the author is missing, you're going to substitute the title for the author. And here you have like an example. You're going to write the title of the document, the date, and retrieve from, and you put the URL. So another example, if you don't have the author and the date, they are both missing, you combine the author and the date methods. So you put only the title of the document, you put ND, no date, and retrieve from and the URL. So this chart is really useful. You can find some information. Sometimes when you're in a website, the information from a website different is sometimes really hidden, or you can, or there's no the complete information. So this chart is going to help you with that. Okay, so now let's see in detail how to make a reference from specific formats, like for example, books. Okay, the same. These are the important elements for almost everything: the author last names, the year of the publication, title, location of the publisher, and publisher. This is a print book, so you have in the cover, you can find the title and the authors, and in the first, like sometimes first 3 to 5 pages, you can find the year, the publisher, place of publication, etc. So you have these are the main elements when you're going to cite to a reference from a book. So what about ebook, electronic book? This is from one of our databases, eBook Central. Here you will have the author, the title of the book. You can find the publication information, also the date and the publisher. And it's very important the link, because you should at the end write retrieve from and include where you found the book. And some databases have the cite book, like an option that cite the book. You can use it, but always check, because sometimes they change the order of the elements, or sometimes they don't capitalize correctly, or they don't use italics correctly. So you can use this option, but always check first before submitting your assignment. Okay, so this is an example of this book here. We have the last name, the date, the title of the book, and retrieve from the database. Okay, also here we have more examples of the printed book, electronic book, book with the DOI is the digital object identification. Some books have it, some books don't have it. The only is the same. The only difference is that at the end you're going to include it. this is not really used. Some books don't usually have it, but you have it here in an example just in case. So if it's a chapter from a book, also you put the name of the last name of the author, the year, the title of the chapter. You put in, like in the Trauma and Organizations book. This is the title of the book, and retrieve from the database. And also, if you are you included the definition of television and social media in your assignment, when you are going to the reference list, you're going to write television and social media, the date, in the title of the encyclopedia or the title of the dictionary, and here, and the pages. That is for encyclopedia or dictionaries. Okay, so what now we're going to see the journals and magazines. And it's basically is similar. The elements are, some of them are similar. You know that it's very important the author's last name, publication, here the title of the article, and here we have the title of the journal, volume, and number and pages. This is a print version, or also the online. You have the title of the journal title, volume, number, pages. Sometimes in the first page of the article, you should find this information. This is an example from a database here of the virtual library, the criminal justice database. You will see the article like this. You will have the title of the article, the author, title of journal, volume and issue, and also you will find the cite option. Like like in the ebooks, check first the order, the capitalization, the italics, because sometimes they change this. But it's sometimes, yeah, it's really useful and will help you. You just have to be really careful and check first. So this is the example of the image. We have the name of the author, date, title of the uh, uh, title of the article, and the title of the journal. And you can see here that the title of the journal is in italics and the title of the article is in normal, and you're going to capitalize the first word and the first word of the subtitle. Okay, so here you also have some examples from the electronic journal, and if it's a magazine, a popular journal, you will write the last name of the author, the date. Here you're going to add the month, and then year, and then the title of the article and title of the journal, and finishing with the volume and number and the date, the pages. Okay. Here we have other example. Let's see, websites. So the elements are basically the same. You're going to look for the author, the publication date, here the title of the section, and the title of the web page. You have here the format and some examples that you can use if you're going to cite and do the reference from a web page. And we have here also the chart, because sometimes in web pages it's really difficult to find the information. So remember the charts and the order of the elements. So what if you are going to cite for a blog, also look for the title, the last name of the author, the title. For example, here we have a blog. You're going to write the last name of the author, the date. Here you're going to write the complete date. Usually it is on the upper side of the blog, right below the title, and then the title of the blog, and you're going to add a blog entry, double slide. You're going to it's like saying that this is a blog entry. The 17 writers need to make a living. Blog entry. Then you're going to retrieve, and you're going to write the URL. Okay. So also we have here some more examples about a video. If you use a YouTube video, we have here some examples. Here you're going to first write the author of the video, and between square bracket the name of who posted the video on the platform, followed by the date, the title of the video. Between brackets you write video file and retrieve from the link where you find it. For example, here we have an example. Here we don't have the author of the video, so we're going to put first the user who published it, followed by the date, the title of the video, all complete, and followed by between square bracket the video file retrieved from and the link. And here we have more about if you use movies. We also have here examples from Blu-ray format and from on Netflix or online movies that you see online. Like also, it will be the same format from Hulu or other platforms. Okay, so also we have another examples here that later you can. I only talk about the main format that you probably will use for your assignments. But if you have more questions, there are also here some website that can help you. For example, the APA Style blog is the official companion to the publication manual. It's run by a group of experts who work on APA. So it's really it's a reliable source if you need more information about APA, and they're always including new ways and new formats. Also here we have the basic of APA style. This is a tutorial, and the blue book if you need to cite information from cases, international materials, law, etc. Also here we have Purdue OWL. It's also really useful. I personally use it because I like it because it has a lot of examples, and it explains really good all the different details and all the elements of APA. And yeah, then they have really good examples. Okay, so here this is the end of the APA guide. Now we're going to go back to the main page. Here, if you have more questions later, if you have more questions, you can find us and chat with us in the service. Chat with the librarian. Our working hours are Monday to Friday from 9 in the morning to 5 p.m. You're going to write here your name, institutional email, your program. You choose your program, choose the campus, and start chat, and we can you can ask us about the library if you need any resources, and we can help you with that. If you have questions like in the weekend or at night at 3 a.m. or something, you can use this service, Ask a Librarian service. Here you can write your question and explain here in more details what is your question. You then fill in your information and submit your question. This is open 24/7, but we are going to answer you first thing the next working day. So for example, if you ask if you use this on Saturday, we're going to answer you Monday morning. But uh, if you need if you have a question that really needs you need an answer now, you can use here Ask a Librarian. This will take you to our frequent asked question. You can look here if your question has been already been answered, and maybe it can help you. If not, you can always write us here a ticket or chat with us. Okay, so this is no. Before we go, here's the we're going to show you this tab here. The last tab is the repository. Here, if you are this is your first time here in the virtual library, you can check the past tutorials. This is the virtual library orientation. Also, you can check this tutorial, the information resources. Here you can find information about the databases, which databases to use if you need articles or ebooks or videos, and the different themes and topics that each database has. So this is really useful if you need to, for your homework, to search for information. And here in the virtual library orientation, we will guide you from each step. We're going to look at each of these tabs in the menu and explain to you what you can find in the virtual library. So this is all for today. I hope that you learn about APA, and remember that if you have more questions later, you can also um, chat with us or use our tickets. Thank you.